Welcome to Andy's Garage. I'm Andy Phillips. Today we're going to be replacing the battery on this Nissan Quest minivan. So let's go ahead and get started. Now looking under the hood, here's your battery. It's located right here. It's on the right side when you're looking in. But let's get a close-up. I'll show you what we have here, and then we'll look at what the replacement battery would be for it. Now the first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that when you're replacing the battery, you want to make sure that the battery is dead. So it's very important to test it properly and ensure that it's not the alternator. So if you want to see some videos I have on how to test the battery, how to test the alternator, so that way you know for a fact that it is the battery, you can check those out. I'll have the links across the top for both of those. I'll also have them down in the description along with other links that may be valuable for what we're doing here. Now if the battery can be charged, you can go ahead and you can recharge it, and also you want to also check your water levels, things like that. Those links will also be down in the body of this video. Now for the sake of this video, we're just replacing the battery itself. So we have the battery here. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we get the right model number of battery that it needs to be replaced with. This particular one's pretty dirty, so I'm just going to go ahead and wipe off this label so we can see exactly what it's talking about. And we have here the actual part number for this battery. I'll get a close-up. So that's the battery that we need. It's the 24F. Now there's different dashes which will indicate, the gold or the extended life and all those different things. And you know, dash 1, 2, 3, 4. So depending on what you want to spend, you can, get the dash 1, 2, 3, 4. I always go with just the standard 1-year battery. I tend to get 2, 3, 4, even sometimes 5 years out of those. Sometimes you may just have to recharge them, but they'll hold that charge. So let's go ahead. We're going to get this battery off of here. So we need to take this support bar off so we can slide it off, and then we'll disconnect these terminals and swap it out. Now to complete this video, the only thing that you need is your replacement battery, which for this particular vehicle, which is the Nissan Quest, it's the 24F series battery. And as mentioned already, then you can decide if you want to get the value or the gold, whatever. There's different versions of it that will last longer, things like that are more expensive. So you choose what you want. And then all you're going to need is just a ratchet with a 10mm socket, or you can also use a 10mm wrench. But basically, you'll need that in order to remove the nuts off of that support bar, and also on the positive and negative terminals to disconnect them from the battery. When you go to the store to purchase your battery, whether you're going to like an auto store, or in this case here I'm at a Walmart, when you go to the battery rack, a lot of times you'll have a terminal or a catalog. In this case it's the terminal. So what you'll do is you'll locate the make of your vehicle. So we'll go ahead, we'll select Nissan. Next you're going to select the year. What we're dealing with here is a 2008, so I'll select here, click that, select 2008. We'll go down and find Quest, select that, and then it'll show you the engine. Go into this, it'll show you for the 24F series all the different, the value and different models of the battery. Each one's more expensive. Once you find the one that you want after you cycle through, then you can go here to the rack and then you select the one that you want, and then you're good to go at that point. Next we have our 10mm socket and ratchet, so we can take the nuts off of the lead on the negative and the positive terminals. This one can be a little tight right here, depending on how yours is positioned. So you may have to just kind of pull that a little bit out of the way to get that in there. And then we can go ahead and loosen that nut. When you get it loose enough, and you always want to start with your ground, which is your black one. Go ahead and remove that, slide it off to the side. And then now we can move here, lift that up, and then next we can do the positive. Just go ahead and do that by hand, and then we can remove this. Slide it off to the side. Next, we're going to remove these two 10mm nuts from this kind of a, I guess, bracket or locking arm. So we'll go ahead and do that. Once you get it near the end, you can just remove it by hand. You don't want to lose that. So once we get that nut off, We can put it in a secure place so we don't lose it. Come on to the other side, do that one. Raise that up as well. And we'll put this one also in a safe spot. And then you have 2 threaded rods on each side that it screws into, and they're kind of little, kind of like J-bolts or J-hooks. They slide in. So when we raise this, we'll put that off to the side. Sometimes they can, like this one here just fell back there, but when we lift the battery, here we go. Pull that out, and then I'll show you how that clips back in. But now we're ready to go ahead and lift the old battery out. We'll move these cables out of the way, and then we're ready to lift the old battery out. So pull that out. Sometimes, depending how it's in there, you got to kind of work it out. This one's kind of in a tight spot. All right, so the old battery's out. I'm going to show you in here how those little J hooks or rods go in there, so that way you know, and then we'll get ready to put the new one in and connect it up. Looking in here, you have these 2 rods. One goes on this side. It locks in like that. And when the battery's in place, it'll hold that. Right now they're falling. And then this is the other side, which pretty much just locks in like that, and that's what holds it in place. Then the nut goes down on this side, tightens, and it locks it in. So for now, we'll leave these off. It's easier to slide them in place once the battery has been put in. Put the new battery in. That one can get in the way. Sometimes you're positive, so if you put the battery in, just kind of push it out of the way, drops right in place. And then now we're ready to take these caps off. But before we do that, I'm actually going to go ahead and connect these, connect that top bracket. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on. We're going to slide these in as I showed you, lock them in place. Then we'll bridge that over, tighten the nuts down, and then we'll be back to connect these leads on here. This is nice and secure. Once that's done, we can remove these little caps. And we'll start by connecting the positive. Just go ahead and slide that over. And then we'll tighten that nut. Make sure it's secure. You don't want to over tighten it. And then now we're ready to put the ground one on. All right, so we have the new battery in. Let's go ahead and start the car, make sure everything works good. All right, so as we just saw, everything works good. Battery's working fine, car's starting fine. So the next thing that you want to do, you want to take your old battery, you want to make sure that you take it back to where you got the new one. When you purchased it, you should have received kind of a part of the receipt that will allow you to take this back and then get credit for it. So you definitely want to make sure that you take back this core, and then you're good to go. So that wraps up this video on how to replace the battery on a Nissan Quest minivan. I hope that this video was informative for you. I hope it helped you out. Please send me any questions, comments. I would love to hear from you. As always, I appreciate all the support. So please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.